Okay, so new for you this morning, fewer people in Arizona are smoking cigarettes, but a lot of people haven't stopped using nicotine. The most recent data shows teen vaping rates are now above 5 times higher than smoking, while adult cigarette use, that continues to decline. That shift is now creating an unexpected problem here, though. Millions of dollars in funding is gone for early childhood programs across the state.
So Nohelani Graf is here this morning to explain there is a solution, right, Nohe? But it's hitting some barriers.
Absolutely. So on the one hand, we've got some progress, right? Fewer cigarette use. But on the other hand, the funding goes down with it. And that funding gap is already having real impacts here in Arizona. Right now, early intervention programs rely heavily on taxes from traditional tobacco, not vaping products. And as a result, programs targeting early literacy, developmental screenings are all now serving fewer families. And advocates say the fix could be simple if lawmakers act. The building blocks of school readiness start stacking years before kindergarten.
We know that from birth to 5, 90% of the brain growth happens within that window. It's the time that we should be focusing on the child's life the most.
From speech therapies to early literacy support, child care scholarships, and health screenings. In Arizona, many of those programs are funded through a voter-approved tobacco tax. But Joe Barba with First Things First says that funding model is starting to break down.
Today, we are operating with about $80 million less in revenue. So whether you're a nonprofit, a state agency, or a business, $80 million less in revenue every year is going to substantially change the way that you operate.
The reason? Fewer people are smoking traditional cigarettes, but many haven't quit nicotine. They've switched to vaping, and those products aren't taxed the same way.
That happened in 2006. 2007, vapor and nicotine products entered the market. If our forefathers and foremothers, would have anticipated the people would be smoking out of USB sticks, that language would have been included in the original voter initiative.
Advocates say there's a straightforward fix. Update the law to include the same point of sale tax.
If voters in 2006 would have had that also in that language, they would have absolutely approved it. And so we have an opportunity now to close the loophole and to modernize our tax structures on these products.
But that proposal has stalled at the state legislature, and without new funding, programs are already being cut. For families already struggling, that could mean fewer options and harder choices.
There are going to be families, if this isn't solved in the future, that won't have those same opportunities.
And without the right stepping stones and a harder climb to success, advocates say it sets up a shaky outlook for Arizona's future workforce.
But that investment starts with our youngest Arizona citizens.
So advocates say they will continue working to educate lawmakers and the public. To be clear, this tax is only if you buy those products. In fact, First Things First had ASU's Seidman Institute run the numbers. If vaping had been included in the bill's language in 2007, it would have generated $1.6 billion since then. Instead, that money has been left on the table, guys.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
$1.6 billion. Wow, Nohe, thank you so much. 647.